Hello and welcome to Hamer Reviews. My name is Christopher Hamer and today we're reviewing the Apple HomePod Mini. Released about a week or two ago, the HomePod Mini is an iteration in Apple's quest to provide a smart speaker in our homes. I've been really impressed by some of Apple's sound products recently. The Beats Flex I thought were really good. So reviewing the HomePod Mini seemed like a good choice. I didn't like the original HomePod. I've never really got on with smart speakers, if I'm completely honest. I love Bluetooth speakers, but smart speakers in the home, I just never really got into. I had the Echo Dot. I actually shipped one to England before they started selling them here, and I used that for a while, but the screen was horrendous and I didn't get the point. And then the HomePod was so expensive, I just never really justified it. I've got better speakers. If I want a large speaker experience, I've got a proper hi-fi at home, and if I want a Bluetooth speaker, my God, I've got enough of those at home as well. But the HomePod Mini is interesting, partially because it's relatively affordable. This little device is £100. I'd say for American viewers, it's perhaps just larger than a baseball, but roughly baseball-shaped sized. So it's not very large, which isn't a bad thing. I think that small speakers have got much better recently. The thing for me is it any good? So it comes in this diminutive box, and you don't get much. You get an Apple USB charger, a USB-C one in fact, like so, which will look very recognizable to most of you, probably. And then you've got the HomePod Mini, which I said is very small. Attached to which is a USB-C cable, which obviously plugs into the charger, which plugs into your wall outlet, which gives you the HomePod. Setup is so easy if you're an Apple user. Really, really, really easy. You kind of plug this in, and it will switch itself on, and you kind of hold your phone near it, and your phone's already going to start asking you whether you want to add it to your devices. And from there, the installation is simple, and you follow a couple of on-screen steps, and it's installed, and that's great. The sound quality is good. I know I sound surprised because at the intro I said small speakers have got better, but this is really, really good. It's got a good full sound. So I can't really play you anything because if I record the music, I'm going to get copyrighted to hell. But more importantly, you're not going to really be able to hear how good the sound is because it'll depend on your headphones or speakers that you're listening on. But let me tell you this, if you're listening to music on a cheap device, whether it's cheap headphones, cheap Bluetooth speakers, even a cheap TV, the sound is sort of hollow. You don't get the highs, the mid-range and the lows. It's just a very hollow sound. This is a very full sound. It's a more premium sound, to be honest with you. I would expect, in terms of price to performance, you have to pay double to get this kind of sound quality in this size device, which is good. Apple has done something really well. It also integrates via the Home app, so when you're setting this up, you're going to need the Home app to do it. That's no bad thing. It allows you to connect and control it, but we're going to get onto some of the negatives because there are some, connected to that. You can output whatever audio you want to it, which is good. So I outputted sleep sounds from the Calm app. I've used the Apple Music app. I've used it for sounds on YouTube videos. It's been very good. In terms of display, there isn't one. At the top, you have a volume rocker, so a volume down, volume up. If you tap and hold, you can activate Siri, but Hey Siri works too, and will wake it up and help you out. I think Siri on the HomePod is a bit rubbish. Couldn't do the things I wanted it to do, wouldn't play radio stations, even like BBC Radio 1 or any of those. It just wouldn't play them. So Apple needs to work on their integration there because with a smart speaker, I expect to be able to say, play Radio XYZ, and it does it, and it doesn't. That's a bit crap, to be honest with you. Then we have the fact that integration into apps is actually quite rubbish. So actually, let's talk about the Calm app. So Calm is a great app for any of you that wants to do meditation or relax, etc. And the app is premium, okay? It's expensive to have a subscription to it. I actually get one through work, but it's not cheap. So I expect that in terms of development, they put a lot of money into that app, but I can't just choose to output the sound through the HomePod Mini. Instead, I have to lock my iPhone and then choose it as an output on the lock screen of my iPhone. So there's clearly some improvements that could be made there. Another issue I found was adding another user to this device was so complex. Essentially, the only way you can give someone else access to the HomePod that isn't on your Apple account is to go into the Home app and give someone access to your entire home. I think that's a really rubbish implementation. It's a smart speaker. If I want someone else to be on it, I should just be able to add them. But instead, you have to go through this entire process of giving access to your home. The Home app needs some work, in my opinion. That's not to say that it's bad if you're a single user or a single household using a single Apple account. It's just something to bear in mind. I think that's probably most relevant if people have kids. You maybe don't want to give someone access to the garage door if they're quite young, but you maybe want to give them access to the speaker so they can play their music on it. It's not a great implementation doing it that way. There's other things that irk me. The cable. I can't pull it out of the HomePod. It's soldered in place, having watched teardown videos, and USB-C connection. So essentially, if you break this cable, you can go out and buy a new HomePod because the repair cost is virtually the cost of a new one. You can take out the Apple Care on this. I wouldn't, but you can, which means it would cost you less to get it repaired, but it's just a bit silly, really, isn't it? Replaceable cable. This could have been a dual-sided USB-C cable. There's no reason for this at all. I guess it's just Apple's aesthetic because it looks cooler, but I don't like it. That being said, the cable is braided, so it should last long, which is good. This really is just a standard Apple charger. You can plug this into anything. I've used my USB hub and it wasn't an issue, though it wouldn't drive off a USB power bank, so bear that in mind. When you do activate Hey Siri, you get a series of lights. Obviously, it's not plugged in at the moment, so I can't show you. Also, saying Hey Siri over and over again would drive it nuts. But you get the sort of colourful LEDs that show you it's active. That's good to know. Another thing I found that bugged me is you can't turn off the LEDs when you're playing music. So you sort of have a glow coming from it. So for instance, if you're using it at night and you want it to be dark in your room, this produces light. So I'm just putting things on top of it to do that, to stop it, which again isn't ideal. But I come back to this costing £100, being a smart speaker and sounding really good. And when you look at it from that perspective, this is a good deal, in my opinion. I think it's a good device. I haven't had many devices at this price point that are that good. So, do you or do you not buy one? If you're in Apple's ecosystem, and I think you really have to be in Apple's ecosystem to want one of these, it's actually worth it. I like the fact that if you have two, you can play them in stereo. So you could really use this as like an immersive experience when watching movies if you just want sort of two small ball-sized objects producing sound. And I think that's a real alternative. The thing is, if you're buying this for the smart speaker element, buy an Amazon Alexa. I still think they're the best. I don't like them, but in terms of the actual voice assistant, being able to do things, being able to help you to answer your questions, Alexa's so much smarter than Siri. It's the unfortunate truth, and I say that as someone that loves Apple products, and I love Apple's integration. I'm able to draft my text through this, listen to my emails if I want, etc. You can do all that, and that works great. But if you want something more advanced, play radio stations, integrate into other apps, it just falls flat. So, if you want this as a great speaker, goodbye. It's a good buy, it really is. And it will work well, though you might have to do a few workarounds in terms of playing that content from this speaker. If you want it as a stereo set, also I think a good buy. I don't have to, but I genuinely think it's going to be very good just based on the sound quality of this one. I can imagine that the stereo will work well. If you want it for the smart speaker element, don't buy it. It's not going to be worth it for you. So, the Apple HomePod Mini. Mixed feelings, but on the whole, the sound quality is astonishingly good, and as a result, I can recommend it. Just bear in mind that there are the limitations of Siri and Apple software that might make it a little bit painful for you. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, please pop them in the comment section. I'd love to know, are you planning on buying one? Are you planning on using one in your home entertainment system? You know, what are your thoughts? I genuinely would be fascinated to hear on this one. And equally, if you haven't already, please subscribe. It really helps the channel and I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching, and I do hope to see you again next time. Goodbye.